The wind had a voice that day, low, mournful, like it was trying to warn someone. Dust kicked off the plains, tumbling through the dry air as the old cowboy leaned off his saddle, squinting at something strange by the side of the road. A canvas sack moving. He swung down from his horse, boots hitting the earth with a solid thump. His name was Silas Boone. People in town called him the Ghost Rider, not for speed or show, but because he didn't talk much, didn't drink, and had no family to his name. A man more shadow than soul. But that sack was crying. He dropped to one knee, unfastened the worn rope around the top, and slowly pulled the burlap open. What he saw nearly made his hardened heart seize. A boy, no more than 6, face smudged with dirt, eyes wide and red with fear, curled inside like a trapped pup. Please don't send me back, the boy whimpered. Silas stared at him, stunned. Back where? The child shook his head, tears tracing down his cheeks. Anywhere but there. That night, the stars watched in silence as Silas built a fire near his small cabin, far out where no one came unless they were lost or looking for trouble. The boy hadn't said another word during the long ride back. He just clutched the saddle horn and trembled. Inside, the cowboy warmed up beans and stale cornbread. He laid a blanket by the fireplace, gave the kid a clean shirt and some warm water. What's your name, son? Eli. You got folks? The boy shook his head again, slower this time. Silas didn't push. He just sat on his old wooden chair, staring into the fire, feeling something stirred deep in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. In the days that followed, Eli became a silent shadow. He followed Silas everywhere, from the barn to the pasture to the creek that snaked along the edge of the land. He didn't laugh. Didn't ask questions. But he watched Silas like a hawk watches the wind. Then came the first crack in the silence. You ever been hit with a belt? Eli asked one morning, feeding the chickens. Silas froze. The old pain in his chest throbbed again. Once, he said quietly. When I was your age. Did you cry? No. But I bled. Eli nodded, like he understood. That night, he cried into Silas's shirt until he fell asleep in his arms. A month passed. The boy started talking. Not much, but enough to say things like, you missed a spot, or that horse likes you, or I had a brother. I think. Bits and pieces came together like puzzle pieces tossed in the wind. Eli had been passed from home to home. Foster care, group shelters, families that wanted checks more than children. The last place had locked him in a shed for a week, no food, just water and darkness. When he tried to run, they stuffed him in a sack and dumped him by the road like trash. Silas listened, jaw clenched tight. His own childhood hadn't been much different. A drunk father, a vanished mother. He left at 15, never looked back. Never had a reason to. Until now. One morning, the sheriff came. A tall man in a tan coat and silver star, chewing tobacco and looking far too serious. We heard you found a boy, he said. Silas stood between the sheriff and the house. I did. Well, we got paperwork. State says he's to be turned over to child services in Amarillo. There's a group home waiting. No, came a small voice from behind the door. Eli stepped out, hands shaking. Please, don't send me back. The sheriff sighed, scratched his beard. Ain't my call, son. The system's got rules. I'll take him, Silas said, voice like thunder rolling low. You ain't no foster. No license. I'll get what I need. You let him stay. The sheriff looked hard at Silas, really looked. Then nodded slowly. You got 2 weeks. Papers, forms, background checks. If you ain't ready, I gotta take him. For the first time in years, Silas walked into town. He filled out forms, got fingerprinted, signed up for classes, even bought a shirt with buttons that didn't have holes in it. People whispered. Old Ghost Rider's losing it. That kid's trouble. He's too old to be raising a boy. But Silas didn't care. He built Eli a bed from pine. Painted it blue. They carved their names on the headboard. Every night, he'd read Eli the old Western tales. The boy would fall asleep with a smile on his face, something Silas thought he'd never see. The 2 weeks passed like water through fingers. The sheriff came back, a stack of papers in hand. Silas stood tall, papers in order, heart pounding like a drum. "You did it," the sheriff muttered. "Hell, didn't think you would. State approved the placement. He's yours, long as you want him." Silas looked down at Eli. The boy grinned, hugged his waist like he never wanted to let go. "I do," Silas said, voice breaking. "I want him." Years passed. The boy became a man. Strong, kind, fearless. Folks came from other towns just to learn horses from the Boone Ranch. But Eli never forgot that day. The sack. The road. The man who found him. And every year, on that same dusty morning, they sat under the tree behind the barn, drinking coffee, remembering how love sometimes comes not from blood, but from choice. Silas passed on when Eli turned 23. Left him the land, the horses, and a note tucked inside the Bible.